So apparently when I outed Chris Hedges as a Zionist, a liberal Zionist got triggered. Northern Marx 1934 said, "Dude, please stop." And I said, "You stop. Chris Hedges is a Zionist subversive. Here's my probable cause." Chris Hedges literally interviewed Avi Schleim. Avi Schleim is a Zionist settler. Avi Schleim participated in the IOF, and he has a Zionist passport, right? Avi Schleim is a Zionist settler, right? Avi Schleim's built his entire career off of Zionist normalization. Avi Schleim needs to be in prison, but he's being harbored in England, right? Chris Hedges has a huge pattern of Zionist normalization. Chris Hedges verbally normalized the Zionist entity in this video. And then he had Medea Benjamin on. Do you know who Medea Benjamin is? Medea Benjamin's the head of Code Pink. Code Pink is literally funded not only by the Tides Foundation, but by Neville Singham. The co-founder of Code Pink, Jody Evans, is married to Neville Singham, who is a Zionist Chinese propagandist. Boom, Code Pink. Oh, Code Pink. They're founded by Medea Benjamin and Jody Evans. Medea Benjamin is a Jew. Medea Benjamin is a liberal Zionist. Right? So, who is Jody Evans? Jody Evans of Code Pink. She's married to Neville Singham, who is a Chinese operative, a Sri Lankan Chinese operative, right? And after she got married to Neville Singham, she switched things up and started shilling for China. And you see that with Code Pink as well, right? So, Jody Evans was once critical of the Zionist shithole called China, but when she married Neville Singham in 2017, and by the way, 25% of Code Pink's funding is from groups connected to Neville Singham, she switched her tune up, and now she's a shill for China, right? These are the people that and China's the second largest trading partner of the Zionist entity. China's the largest source of imports going into occupied 1948 Palestine. So, yeah. So Chris Hedges is interviewing this liberal Zionist Jewish opportunist named Medea Benjamin. And then UN rapporteur Francesca Albanese is also a Zionist. You want to know why? The UN is inherently Zionist, right? And then he had old Cornball on. We know Cornball's an opportunist. We know Cornball. Again, Cornball, the dad of Cornball West was the general contractor for the DOD. The granddad of Cornell West was the pastor of Tulsa Metropolitan Baptist Church. Cornball West is a Southern Protestant circus clown. Cornball West is a Zionist subversive. And Cornball said that he couldn't join the Black Panther Party because of his Protestant ideology, right? Cornball is a bougie academic, and Cornball has been a bougie academic his entire adult life. And he was a W.E.B. Du Bois fellow. W.E.B. Du Bois was a Zionist, right? And I don't know why Immortal Technique was hyping up and collaborating with Cornball, with old Cornball. Oh, by the way, as of 2023, Cornball owes the IRS $483,000. And some of that spending has gone towards extramarital affairs. And he's got multiple baby mamas, right? Also, Cornball is a liberal Zionist. Cornball called Saddam Hussein a totalitarian. Cornball calls himself a non-Marxist, and he's a DSA member, right? Cornball collaborated with Zionist subversive Al Sharpton. Cornball collaborated with Zionist subversive Michael Lerner. Cornball is also the co-chair of the Spiritual Network of Spiritual Progressives, formerly the Tikkun Community, funded and founded by who? Zionist subversive Michael Lerner. Cornball West, who is anti-indigenous, supports PETA. Okay? So, Cornball hypes up Zionist MLK. Right? Cornball, in 2008, Cornball voted for Obama. Cornball supported Zionist settler Bernie Sanders. Cornball and Nina Turner, whose husband's a cop and whose son's a cop, campaigned for Zionist settler Bernie Sanders. Right? Again, you can't trust Cornball. Oh, Cornball is a liberal Zionist. We mentioned that already, right? But we'll mention that again. Cornball plays both sides on Palestine. Cornball is a liberal Zionist. I mean, this comment that he made is disgusting, and he is a liberal Zionist. Right? This is why you can't trust Cornball. And you got John Mearsheimer, who committed war crimes in Vietnam, right? Being platformed by Chris Hedges. You have the attorney and executive director of Human Rights Watch, Kenneth Roth, who is being platformed by Cornball, or not by Cornball, by Chris Hedges. You have Zionist Gabor Mate being platformed by Chris Hedges. Mate is a Zionist. Mate collaborates with Zionist normalizers frequently. David Wolpe, who's this David Wolpe guy that he was talking with? Oh, he's a Zionist criminal. He's a Zionist settler. He funds literal settlements in Palestine, right? Gabor Mate wrote a whole article normalizing the Zionist entity. And then you have Norman Finkelstein, who is also a Zionist subversive, being platformed by Chris Hedges. Finkelstein is anti-BDS. Finkelstein is anti-BDS. Finkelstein is a two-stater, right? So why is Chris Hedges platforming Norman Finkelstein, a guy who literally sounds like Morton Goldman? And then you have Richard Wolff. Do an early life check on Richard Wolff, dude. His parents were both Jewish German citizens. That's a big red flag, right? And you got Yasha Levine. Levine, right? That name echoes. And then you have Muhammad al-Kurd, who had a book published by Haymarket and is an Annenberg Fellow, right? By the way, Muhammad al-Kurd is younger than I am, right? He's a civic media fellow at the Annenberg Innovation Lab at USC in Los Angeles. That's called being a sellout, right? That's called being a sellout. I just had to scratch my hand there. So, and then Chris Hedges platforms liberal Zionist Chinese operative Catherine Liu. Catherine Liu is a Chinese government operative and a Zionist subversive. Catherine Liu is being platformed by Bridget of Midwestern Mussolini. That's a big red flag. Catherine Liu also platformed by Jacobin. Another big red flag. And then you have Hindutva opportunist Kashama Sawant being platformed by Chris Hedges. Kashama Sawant, again, speaks at conferences where Zionist Jew Jill Stein speaks. Literally interviews, liberal Zionist normalizer Nick Cruz from RBN. And then you have Chris Hedges literally platforming Zionist settlers. Gideon Levy is a Zionist settler. Gideon Levy was a propagandist for the IOF. Gideon Levy is a Zionist settler from Czechoslovakia, right? Gideon Levy calls himself a patriotic Zionist settler. And he lives in Sheikh Munis on stolen Palestinian land. Chris Hedges literally platforms a Zionist settler. So this hoser, Northern Marx, this guy's a total hoser. This guy who claims, so this guy's he's a normalizer. How can you claim to be pro-Palestine and then you run cover for Chris Hedges, dude? How can you claim to be Palestine and then run cover for Chris Hedges, who is a liberal, he's a Zionist, and a normalizer? So there you go. Northern Marx is a liberal Zionist subversive. So there you go.